Okay, look, I know. Gumbasa already has a review of this. I know this. I also know that he has probably done a better job than me. However, one, I think Gumbasa has retired from doing this type of thing, so near. And two, it's the closest thing I could find to an actual play series that was not overly silly. I had just found out about Dungeons and Dimwits, that story about the Shadow Bolts getting Sidetwide to DM for them. It is hilarious. I want to do it. I'm stuck between that and Pony Fighter after the next Lunaverse episode. But I chose this, and we're doing it. So without further ado, here is Roll for Initiative by Prak. Enjoy. Roll for Initiative by Prak. Chapter 1.
You're going to die if you keep going,
said the ghost of Star Swirly Bearded. As if there's nothing in this musty old temple that can stop me, Derry-Doo replied. Moments before her hoof tripped yet another pressure plate. A series of clicks was her only warning before the low, narrow hallway was filled with a rain of arrows. Wincing and swearing every time her projectile perforated her leather armor, Daring darted back and forth as she made her way through the passage. When she reached the other side of the trap, the firing mechanism disengaged. She stopped and looked back. Still panting, she struck a confident pose and bowed theatrically to her companions. You see, nothing can stop Daring-Do, mistress of the Her monologue was cut short as the trapdoor beneath her host fell open. But her quick reaction saved her once again, as her arrow-wielded wings propped open and held her aloft. Beneath her, the flickering torchlight reflected off the metal edges. As I was saying, nothing can stop! The ceiling collapsed, and Daring-Do was pushed down the pit. Rainbow Dazz's hose dug deep into her mane as she screamed. Again. What the hate, why? A falling ceiling? You just put that there to get me killed! Yes, of course I did, Twilight said, rolling her eyes as she lowered the DM screen. I only set it up that way to kill you in particular. It couldn't have possibly had anything to do with the fact that the temple's builders would have wanted to make sure it was safe from all kinds of creatures, including Pegasi and griffins. It really is no pony's fault but your own. Stars Earl even told you there was danger ahead. Whatever, muttered Rainbow. I can just erase the numbers and roll new ones again, right? Yes, Rainbow. Your new character can catch up to the group when you finish. Okay, y'all, let's hurry up and make some progress while there's nothing to slow us down, Applejack said, smirking. Agreed, but you'll have to lead the way, Rarity said. None of us get traps, and you're most likely to survive them. What, none of you decided to learn the detect trap spell? Twilight raised an eyebrow. Rarity, bards can find traps, you know.
Oh god, Rarity's the bard.
Okay, Rarity, I've got to know, which flavor of bard are you? Are you the Scanlan seduce everything in a room that has genitalia? Or are you the Ivan Windstrummer bard that seduced a dragon all right by being nice? I swear I feel like there are only two flavors of bards out there. I suppose we can, but my dexterity is rougher to know. I wasn't willing to sacrifice points for performance and persuasion. With a sigh and a shake of her head, Twilight back up and resumed the game. I guess I'll be taking leave from here, y'all, the paladin announced. She took her time to prod every stone along the way, scrubbing marks on the ones that wiggled. The group soon passed the arrow trap and hopped across the spike pit, not even bothering to spare a glance downwards at the carcasses of the short-lived rogue. After all, there was no way to recover her gear from the pit. Before long, the path opened to a large chamber, and the group moved into a defensive formation. At the front were two earth ponies, the paladin, whose white coat was barely visible underneath her heavy armor, and a solid black stallion named Crusher, whose only armor was a heavy scabbard across his back. Behind them stood the two unicorns, the rune-coated bard, Noble Gem, and the pink sorceress, Swirly Sparks. I feel insulted. There are no druids amongst this group. Sorry, druids my preferred class, and druids for the win, baby. The chamber had once been a hall of worship, but it had been transformed into a den of horrors. The walls were lined with torture devices and tools. The tables with leather straps have recently been installed in the center of the room, and there were the obligatory half-ride corpses lying around the room, of course. As the group took a few steps inside, the door slammed shut behind them. A disembodied bass voice assaulted their ears and shook the room from the walls. They clattered from the bloodstained floor. His voice said,
So, you've made it this far, heroes? Well done! Though I see that not all of you have been so fortunate.
Don't y'all be worried about us none, said the paladin. Even though out there, we're plenty capable of being your zombie ponies. Not to mention, a new rogue should be getting here any town now. Wait, Twilight said, slapping her screen down on the table again. AJ, your character doesn't know that a new one will be arriving soon. Besides, what makes you think they're zombies? Applejack raised an eyebrow smirk. Twi, you said there are corpses on the floor. That means they're gonna get up and we're gonna fight them. I know I said there are corpses, but that doesn't mean there's always gonna be a fight. Darling, I'm afraid the scenario is rather transparent, said Rarity, tingling between sips of soda from her teacup. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, though. After all, there's nothing else to do in the room but fight. It's not like some big surprise was ruined. You're telling it's totally opposite. Zombies are going to get up and go grrrr! Pinky hopped up, standing on her hind legs, and threw a series of punches in the air in front of her. And we're going to be like, what? Pow! It's down! Until we beat them all. She froze in mid-punch. Oh, wait. We don't have any bad ponies in the party. Twilight's eyes glazed over as Pinky sat down, but she quickly shook her head and returned to the city. Close enough. Now, can I get back to finishing Sombra's monologue so we can get this apparently obvious fight started? Sombra, Rainbow Dash yelled. Seriously? That's your villain? King Sombra? Enough! Yes, Sombra is the villain. If you don't like it, make sure you kill him. That way, you'll never have to see him again! Twilight's magic snapped the DM screen back into position. Don't you hate it when your players all mock and insult and riff on your main villain? No, some of you people wouldn't know. You're not DMs, you're PCs. But I've been a DM a few times, so trust me, I know. As I said before, that's my problem with that Dungeons & Dragons episodes of MLP. It should have ended with Twilight stepping in and asking Spike what's he doing with her DM screen and taking her rightful position as playing the Dungeon Master. I'm sorry, I just think that would be a far better message to show that it's not just the guys who are DMs, you know. There are plenty of great female DMs out there, and that it's okay for a girl to be a DM and be awesome at it. And also, I would love to show more Twilight doing what she does best. It would be great for her character. Just saying, I would have loved that better than just what they pulled out. Good moral and all. I just think it would have been a lot more fun with Twilight showing up as a DM. That, or Discord becoming a total that guy, and after Spike loses his temper, decides, okay, fine, you want to play that way, Discord, and that brings in Twilight as his personal DM, and Twilight mops the floor with him.
No, where was I?
Mused Sombra.
Oh yes, I remember now. I don't care how many of you there are. You'll all serve me a death just like them.
About time, the paladin said, as the party drew their weapons. Meanwhile, the zombie ponies around the room stood up and silently decided the order they would attack in. The first to attack was Swirly Sparks, who fired a spread of magic missiles into the chest of the nearest undead, staggering momentarily but failing to kill it. Cruster made the next move, charging ahead and cleaving through two zombies with his oversized axe. Several more moved in to flank him, but he hardly noticed them as they gnawed ineffectually on his hide. The paladin challenged her holy powers at the enemies, crushing surrounding Crusher, reduced several of them to dust. Let's give the barbarian a way to escape, if necessary. Few of the shambling monstrosities responded by lurching in her direction, but she held back with her flailing hose, snapping jaws of her shield. Noble Gem pulled out her lute and plucked the strings with her magic, singing along with the melody. Sarsworld's ghost joined in and made a duet. The door was splintered by the mighty Buck as the fourth daring do made her entrance. "Don't worry, guys! I got this!" she said, taking a moment to strike a heroic pose before charging towards a group of the zombies. She reached the closest one. She spun around and aimed for its head. Elzak and Pinky roared with laughter, while Rarity and Fluttershy giggled. Twilight and Rainbow face-huffed. The result of the attack die was a 1. Well, as we say here on my table, cue the music. How do? Oh, welcome to my shop. Let me cut your mop. Yeah, we have a Nat 1 theme. Depending on the whims of Twilight's dice, possibly something much worse. Daring to use poorly aimed buck sent it tumbling past her intended target, right into the middle of the crowd. As the zombies fell apart to take advantage of her disorientation, the heroes with especially selective ears could make out her last words, "This game is stupid!" With the zombies clustered around the Pegasus remains, Swirl took advantage of the opportunity by launching a fireball into their midst. Although she destroyed every undead in blast radius, she forgot about the zombie her magic missile failed to kill. Closed the gap and mauled her with sharp fragments of its shattered hose. Crusher swung his axe again, killed the full more undead. When the remaining zombies bit into his legs and battered sides of his hooves, the paladin tried to position herself to assist, but couldn't move far without leaving a noble gem vulnerable. The bard continued to play her song. The sorceress put another magic missile into the chest of her attacker, dropping it for good. Then she moved to a safer location and called for the bard to follow. In that moment, several dozen extra zombies dropped through the trapdoors to the ceilings. I think I need to go to a range now, said Crusher. If that's alright with you, that is. After a course of hasty agreements, the barbarian looked down at the bracelet on his hoof on it. 5 letters were engraved. WWIWD. When zombies attack, make their skulls crack, Fluttershy screamed. Eyes wide, pupils narrowed pinpricks. She picked up her dice and slammed them down on the table. The result was a critical hit and obliterated the monster. She rolled again. Was that really one of Ironwheel's slogans? Twilight asked as the body count continued to rise. Rarity grinned back at her. Does it really matter? When the whirlwind of spinning metal came to an end, the panting black barbarian stood amidst a body of bloody, half-rotted bodies. Across the room, the paladin shrugged and ran away from the group she had been fighting. The bard hard on her hose. Still playing her lute and singing, Starsword remained behind and distracted the undead by making funny faces. Crusher's turn soon arrived again. He charged at the remaining cluster of zombies. 2 hours, a few encounters, and 10 ill-fitting daring-do's later, the party of intrepid adventurers, guided by Starsworld's ghost, finally reached the necromancer's inner sanctum. Upon the throne of thrones sat King Sombra, flanked by figures wearing black hooded robes, 7 on each side. Your reign of terror ends here, you beast, Noble Sam said.
Ah, yes, the bard,
Sombra said without looking at her, instead keeping his attention on the wine glass levitating in front of him.
I've been watching you. Your confidence would be cause concern if you had someone scratched any of my minions. I don't believe you drew your blade even once, did you?
Hey, just because you didn't do any fighting doesn't mean she didn't help you, Mr. Meanie Necromancy Pants, Swirl yelled. Summer's gaze flickered to her briefly before returning to the liquid in his glass.
So Sparks, was it? Your power is impressive. Will serve me well when you belong to me.
The paladin drew her sword and held it at array. I'll working you won't be owing any of us, Sombra. We're going to show you what's what.
I know of you as well. Celestia's faithful paladin, Lighthose.
Around and snickers way across the table. Even Twilight failed to keep a straight face. Elzak's sculptor stabbed a hoof on the table. Get with the laughing. I keep telling you, Lighthus is a perfectly fine name for a paladin. Don't get you all why you think it's so funny. Applejack, my girl, it's okay. Yeah, I remind you, even the bravest, most powerful barbarian I know had a silly name like Strongjaw.
Lighthus, Sabra said with a bit of a snicker. Celestia's light may protect you from being turned into one of the undead, but you can still die. And after I strike you down, I will make your friends eat the remaining flesh from your bones.
Yeah, we hear lots of talk, but not as much action, Derry said, stepping forward with her wings flared. Are you guys just gonna stand there for show, or you gonna fight each other soon?
Yes, mister. We will fight. Before we do, however, you might want to pick up your robe.
Summer mentioned to a black cloth lying beside the throne. What the heck are you talking? Derry's words died in her mouth as the robe figure picked up their hoods. A robe, lighting faces soaring through their glossy eyes beneath their pith helmets. It's a daring doozy! Summer chuckled and said,
You'll be needing it very soon.
He flipped the glass aside, stood up as a shadow on the throne. Not cool, Twilight. Not cool, said Rainbow Dash. Twilight leaned over her screen and just grinned mischievously at her friends. Roll for initiative. I think the first time I ever really encountered an RPG anything was when I was like a young kid about to become a teenager, I think. My mom bought me a TMNT RPG book. Yeah, those existed. This was back in first edition near the late 80s, back when the main focus was the Turtles, the comics. I actually got that, and I read through it. And I basically knew about D6s. And it always fascinated me. The idea of creating a character, picking a species, adding all these different roles to start selecting what you are and who you were and coming up with a story. It fascinated the world out of me. But I didn't know how I could find somebody to play with, and it doesn't seem like it was overly complicated, and it did make me a little nervous because I didn't get most of it. My next encounter with a D&D related anything was Dexter's Lab, where I watched Dexter play this game, and it looked fun. Of course, also on Fox Kids, I used to watch reruns of the classic D&D cartoon, which was a blast. They only aired about a few episodes, but it was interesting, and I loved it. But then again, I've always had a thing with fantasy. I've always joked that my little brother is the sci-fi fan. He's the guy that you get to play with when he wants to create fantastic space adventures and stuff like that. I'm the fantasy guy. And you could tell that in Fall of Starfleet, whereas Scipio focused more on the sci-fi stuff like cars and spaceships, the only time you ever saw me use anything that was science fantasy related was when they went into space, that one chapter. The rest of the time had all been about how there were ancient legends of lore and there were different weapons and all that. This is how I've always been. Next time I'll talk about how I also got interested in the history of D&D. And it's sort of embarrassing. Oh, I'm not gonna look forward to that tale.